Alright, so I was trying to figure out, I was having an issue starting this up for the first time, very first time, and everything, it was cranking over fine, but was not starting. It didn't sound like it was getting fuel, so now that's why I have the fuel tank pulled away, exposed the fuel pump, and found a kind of an interesting issue here. So I have all these wires again. I needed to take all these wires apart and label them just to make sure I knew how they went back. But the interesting thing was, so this is a brand new fuel pump from Spectra, and I'll show you. And I used the old fuel pump that I took out of it, which I have here. And just so I could figure out which of those pins in there go to what, which is ground, because it doesn't really say, it's just labeled A, B, C, and D. It doesn't tell you what those are at all. And it's not intuitive if you actually look on the inside either. It doesn't really tell you which ones are going where. So there's a little bit of a trial and error, but I basically took that little pigtail wire, plugged it in, hooked it up to a battery charger just to give it a little bit of power, and switched the leads on it just to see which ones made the pump go and which ones were for the sender. So it's actually the two outside pins are for the pump, the two inside pins are for the sender. On the outside ones, one is a ground, one's power. So on this original, which I'm assuming is an AC Delco pump, hooked it up, and the figured out that, so this is the outlet here, this is the return feed, and this is just a crossover that's not going to be used. So this one gets capped on the GTM. So this is the return, and this is the actual fuel feed. So got it so I just have it in a bucket of water. So I got it so that it was shooting basically water out of the fuel feed, which is what I wanted. And turns out, looking on the pigtail, it was, so I actually did this before I got the new pump and wanted to figure it out. And I had labeled it that the ground is this white one, and the power is this black one. So these are the two outside ones. So when I did hook this black one up to the power and the white one up to the ground on the battery charger, nice flow of water came out. When I did the exact same thing here, nothing was coming out of the feed here, which this is the fuel feed. So again, coming out of that, the one that's labeled black, and nothing was coming out. So what I ended up doing was switching them and putting the power on the white and ground to the black, and all of a sudden it comes shooting out. So on this Spectra fuel pump, the wiring is the exact opposite of the original AC Delco pump that's in there. So that's why I wasn't getting fuel. So I had a very minor spill. I had it going into this gas can, but a little bit of it spilled out, but not too bad. But figured out the problem, hopefully. So I think that now I have that figured out, and we're gonna hook it up and see if it starts.